Well, first of all, shout out to Tiffany. She couldn't come today, but shout out to her company, Florida
Florida
Freestyle
freestyle, yeah.
Events. She's doing her thing, doing all the cool stuff. Doc, tell us about your latest experience at one of the events.
Okay, so yeah, so this is how I met. Now, being the well-trained special agent that I was, before I retired, I was having a conversation with Ashley at the bar, and it's good conversations because she's bartending and she had this swagger. She was working. I was like, yo, this girl's got some nice energy, nice swagger. And I'm not drinking alcohol, so I'm trying to see if there's any like fruit punch or anything over there, you know what I mean, or Shirley Temple, and so
Doc loves his Shirley Temple. So you see Doc with something in his hand, it's either water, it's a Shirley Temple.
That's right. But yeah, so it was funny because I'm having this conversation with her, and I kept going, and I did not know that Tiffany had a sister, and so like I'm like, man, she seems so familiar, in a way. And like they look a lot alike. Now that we said that, look at her face and tell me she doesn't look like Tiffany. If you guys know Tiffany, if you don't know Tiffany, then go back and find that episode and look at it and then compare. But they just look very.
Oh, they
similar.
seen Tiffany. Based on our numbers,
They seen Tiffany.
one of the last videos she was in, she's in the cover on the thumbnail. You all like that thumbnail. The watch time is not very long. However, everybody clicked on the thumbnail.
They said like,
Stop playing.
Shame on y'all.
Stop.
Shame on y'all.
Why? Because I would like to say this because my
because of the
Lambo
Lambo.
is on the cover. It's Tiffany's representative and sister today. So a little bit about Florida freestyle. Just
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, I mean, she would obviously be able to give you a lot more, but
Right.
has set Florida Freestyle up in a sense to where it is basically networking events that you can go to, and there's different focuses on each one depending on what time of the year it is, what the focus is, but she brings a unique network of people that a lot of times are car enthusiasts, and then she brings the model aspect into it, and then she also brings other businesses. So whether you want a vendor at her events, when I started my mobile bartending, obviously I went on in with it. And it just brings a whole community and network of people together that are able to support each other at the end of the day. And like you said, it's all different types of energy, but good energy all around. And that is what I feel like brings Florida Freestyle together.
With that said, first of all, shout out to Mr. E doing his thing. He
couldn't be here.
us.
Yeah.
But since E is a connoisseur of alcohol, he loves his drinks. I love I love some drinks. Dog loves
my
his
Shirley
Shirley
Temple.
Temples.
Yeah.
We have a bartender. Ashley, tell us a little bit about what you do and why you chose to be a bartender. What drove you to that?
No, absolutely. So one, I want to say nothing wrong with a good mocktail. I know some people hate on it, but I can mix together some good mocktails and you make it look cute and sweet, and you're at a bar and they're like, I didn't even realize this was a mocktail.
See, that's why we will always be people. This is my
I
tribe
got
right
you.
here. You're
I
part
got
of the
you.
tribe.
I got you. But yeah, no, I've been in hospitality what seems like my entire life, so eventually
18 years because how you're a child.
Right,
What are
exactly.
you friggin'?
No, but I've always been in the industry. So I've worked anything from, catering, I've worked bars, I've worked divey bars, I've worked high-end, I've worked, just all different types of environments. And I've always been drawn to the hospitality crowd because of, once again, the community that you meet and you grow with and everything. Regulars aren't just regulars, they're the people that you literally talk to
like
on
Cheers.
a regular basis, like Cheers, exactly. So, and it always does depend on the environment that you're working in. It depends on, the type of bar it is, or, for me, when I'm mobile bartending, the type of events I'm working at, but there's always something you can get from every event or every bar or every, just situation you're in and hospitality. So that is kind of what has always kept me in there. I will say life probably just threw me into hospitality, which isn't a horrible thing because I was always a very shy person.
Oh, really?
So,
Okay.
Yeah. So,
and you're very well spoken. You communicate well, and so I would have never known that.
Hospitality is definitely one of those things that brought my character out.
I'm
not that
shy
it wasn't
too.
always,
People say I'm shy.
Yeah, Dog's very shy. He barely says the word.
A little bit introverted.
Tell us something like because there's always a origin story to everything. What was the first time being a bartender? Like, somebody threw you like, I don't know. When I've been to a new job, they go like, especially where I'm at, they're like, okay, we're gonna do this. There's no training. Do the job. I had to figure it out.
Trial by
How
fire,
was
yeah.
that first day? Like you're like, oh my God, am I gonna come back and do this? I have to do this every day because I gotta be stressful.
I mean, that is hospitality though for the most part, at least what I've experienced. I'm sure you could talk to anybody and they might have had a different experience, a different training, different whatever. I grew up here in Florida, so when you're in the industry and that like I said, depending on what bar you're working at, you might get 2 weeks worth of training, you might get an hour if that, and then you get thrown into the weeds. In my opinion, once you do have some type of experience under your belt, whether you're serving, whether you're bartending, whether you're bar backing, the general job is the same. So if you know how to do the job, it should be pretty easy. And I don't mean that in any type of whatever, but like it should be pretty easy to do that. You do need to learn what bar you're at, what restaurant you're at, and understand how they do things.
Right.
So like that does depend.
So the specific location and the demographic may change, but once you have a grasp on the fundamentals. So did you ever see, I know you're younger than me for sure, but all you guys are younger than me. And I'm rocking my, this is my No Shave November for Men's Health Awareness Month.
We're halfway through December, Doc.
I know.
I know. What are you doing?
Well, what happened?
What are we doing, Doc?
What had happened was, every time I say, my wife loves it, even though she respects that it makes me feel older because it's silver. Yeah. It was really cool when somebody said, "Oh, hey, did you frost that and dye it that color?" I was like, get this person a drink on me. I was like, no. How many times have you solved people's marital problems that or kept them from, leaving their husband or their wife, or talked them into leaving somebody who was a bad situation,
So, it's like people joke about it, but it does become true, right? There's a difference between, there's a difference between like when you're going,
no judging.
When you're, I'm chewing a cough drop. So. There's a difference between when you're bartending on like a Tuesday, Wednesday night or a Friday, Saturday night, and like, so for instance, right now I work at a bar. So our Friday, Saturday nights, balls to the wall. We're going, can't stop, won't stop, right? Don't really have the time to therapist you.
Right.
Then. But on a Tuesday, Wednesday night, when you're sitting down at my bar and I'm making you an old fashioned, we can sit and talk and you know what I mean? Whatever's going through is whatever going through, And I've worked at bars where, a lot of times, if bars are in different areas, people will just run the block and they'll come back around. And, I've had people who do that 2 or 3 times and just because I sat there and talked to him, would tip me very well. You know what I mean?
Right.
Each time. So it's you can always sit there and figure out, you got to kind of read the room. Yeah, sweet baby. You got to kind of read the room when it comes to bartending. And, that applies to a lot of different lines of work. But you can tell if somebody's sitting there and they want to talk to you, or if they just want to sit there with their beer and a shot or whatever it is, But there's been plenty of times where I've played the therapist, and I always warn people too, because I've always been a more honest person. I wear my heart on my sleeve, so whether that's good or bad, that's just what it is. And so if somebody asks me my advice, I'm like, okay, I'll give it to you, but do you really want it? You know what I mean?
Right.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So, and usually if they're your regular, you've had some conversations with them. It's just, it happens, So there is some level of comfortability there, if it's a complete stranger that just walked up and they're just sitting there asking me my advice, and that's happened plenty of times before. I usually try to preface them a little bit. I'm like, okay, just so you know who I am, this is how I would say it. This is da-da-da-da, but people go to bars for therapy all the time. The time.
Have you ever had to deal with a customer that mistook your kindness for something else? This guys be
she's one of those guys that's she wants me.
Oh yeah, she's talking
she's digging me because.
Have you ever had an experience you're it's a memorable one, oh my God, what? What's happening? How did I get there?
So I've always had this hard rule where because I've worked in the industry for so long, and I just I don't get my number out at the bar. So
right.
If you're really that interested in me, then you'll find another way to get in contact with me is my thing.
So guys, just follow her
on Instagram. Don't
on Instagram. Come on,
until
wait. She gets out at midnight. Just make sure your lights are off. You drive write down her schedule.
No,
right. 7 a.m. She goes for a jog. Do not do that. Do not do that. She does not get out.
So yeah, no, and it happens. You're in the industry, right? People are drinking and they get a little bit of liquid courage. So people do, but a lot of times you just gotta kind of, you know, play it off. A lot of times their friends are with them and they're just like, oh, it's all right. Da, 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 da.
Right,
And I'm
right,
like,
right.
it's cool. Do you need a beer or a martini? What's up? You know, so
Right.
it really just depends. But, you know, you can still make good connections that way too, you know.
Friendships, right?
Correct. And, you know, most people, you know, as long as they are adults, which like at this point, like I like to work in places that do attract like
More
a little
mature
bit of an older, mature crowd,
yeah, as opposed to
absolutely. So
just
like,
barely old enough to drink, or like, do you find, now let me ask you this so we can, I don't want to mess up your train of
Yeah,
thought,
no.
but like, we talk about like something that I didn't see a lot, because growing up in Germany, the drinking age was 18 in Europe, you know, because people, things are far more liberal and we have less problems, you know, because people, you don't make things taboo because there's a very sound logical or thought process that repression breeds deviance. So you make things taboo and then people want to do it, right? So, you know, it wasn't, but like it came back to the States in Atlanta where I went after college when I went in the military. One of the places I like to hang out is finally like I'm 21, I can go where I want without a fake ID. Not that I ever had a fake ID, but people did, you know, other people. So, but like you could go to this place and then one of the top clubs in Atlanta, it was called Atlanta Nights. You had to be 25 if you're a guy to get in. So they raised, because guys tend to be a little bit less mature than ladies. So ladies could get in at 21, but guys had to be 25. So I was like, now I'm gonna need a fake ID. You know, but yeah. So do you find that? I found later on, these places where you need to be 18 to get in, but 21 to drink. So they mix that crowd in there. To me, that seems like a recipe or formula for disaster. I know some people do it for the money, but do you find that those places are like potentially more problematic for you than like a place that obviously you prefer the older crowd, more mature crowd, but
correct. And like, so for me, I mean, I've done this for a long time. So at this point, I'm not really trying to work in that environment. If it's a stress that I don't need to have, like I'm not trying to deal with that, you know? You know, and it's just that extra precaution too, for me. Like I will always at this point work somewhere where it is, if I've done bars at this point because the late night is you know, the bigger money. So that's what you do, you know,
right.
It just kind of falls into that in this situation. But it's a different crowd. It's a different, if I'm going to be honest, a different tip percentage. It's a different, you know, like, and that's just what it is at the end of the day. I'm going to be honest, you know, most bartenders, they don't always do it because they love it. Like the money's there and that's what they go for, you know? So,
yeah, there's a lot of money in bartending, especially if you're at the right place. So.
Correct. And that's the thing. Usually, you know, a lot of times it does depend on the location that you're at, where you're, you know, like I said, the style of the place too. But yeah, so it really, I mean, I'm not saying I'm above anything because I'm not, but like if I have my choice, like I'm not choosing to work in that because it's also extra like liability and everything like that. If like, people who are younger trying to drink, I'm not going to jail for
because
you.
there you go. To me, that's
I'm not meant for jail. I'm not going to jail for you.
I put some people in jail back in the day, and
you know what I mean? Like,
seems like it sucks there.
It seems like it's somewhere I don't want to be. They don't make the kind of food I like. So
no,
like,
there you go. Yeah.
Let me ask you. So, working in the service industry and working in this the kind of alcohol environment, party environment, probably based on your sleep schedule and interferes with a lot of stuff. Like someone that works like a 9 to 5 would. How's that affect having a relationship with someone? If you are dating or you're committed with someone, how has that caused you any trouble? Is it, the people that you have normally dated have been in the same industry? How's that worked out for you?
So I haven't dated a whole lot of people in the same industry. So it is slightly an issue because, like I said, it's not like I'm working daytime shifts. I'm usually working night shifts. And if you're somebody who's working a Monday through Friday, you know, and then my schedule starts on a Thursday night till Saturday, Sunday,
right?
Then we're kind of flip flopping, and it's not the easiest, right? You know, I feel like I've had people who I've dated who are understandable. That's such a sweet baby.
We have the cats. They're hanging out.
So normally
the cats love the cocktails as well. Loki's over there licking his chops. He's like, "Yo, I want my drink. I want my milk."
Loki and Rashida.
You're sweet
That's what I
babies.
was doing.
And we have Rashid over here hanging out with equipment. So
But
we'll tell you
it is one of those things where it does make it a little bit more difficult because if you are like I'm currently dating somebody who's 9 to 5, you know, so you're flipping switching, like, you know, you just kind of have to. For me, that's like a communication thing, you know. If you're
communication is key in relationships,
if you're building
platonic
something
and otherwise.
with somebody,
That's right.
absolutely. If you're building something with somebody, no matter what the relationship is, you know, that communication's there, but it's something that you just kind of work through, I guess.
I feel you.
They either want to do it or they don't. I don't know. It's just I don't mean to be like a whatever, but
the closest I got to that, I remember working in the industry, in service industry. A lot of great friends in the service industry. Shout out to Cordell. I worked retail. My retail schedule was always constantly changing. Sometimes working until 10, 11 p.m. And then when you're and then working on weekends and stuff. So it was like kind of like a puzzle time to figure out if you're dating someone that has a normal Monday to Friday 9 to 5 job. They have this set schedule, and you're trying to figure out, well, maybe we can meet on this random Tuesday between 7 and 8.
You literally.
So you have to figure it out. So I understand the pain. It requires. I feel like it requires extra effort. Now that I work more of a stable schedule, that I know that when I wake up, I know what I'm gonna do for most of the day, and then on weekends, I know 100% that I'm off. Like, it has made it a little easier, but I definitely have. I know I feel like it required more work at that time when I worked retail, having that wild schedule. It was a little bit tougher for me to figure it out.
You know, it's tough when you are traveling 280 days a year and your girlfriend's in medical school, freaking studying work. Really, like, so we talk about that. So last time I was single and dating ended up being, my wife, who now I've been with for 2 decades, and I'm thrilled about it. But like, yeah, she was in med school at Georgetown, and I was.
How long you been married, Doc? Again,
so my birthday's coming up, and I'm gonna be still under 60 barely, so it'll actually be, I got married for you guys, life hack, baby, write this down. I got married on my birthday. Never gonna forget my anniversary, never. So it'll be
not her birthday.
That's right,
birthday.
My birthday.
Right.
Yeah. So
you might forget her birthday.
No, but I remember her birthday.
Right.
Always.
Also not messing
Never,
up.
not gonna miss that one either. But if you didn't get married on her birthday or my birthday, then I'd have to remember her birthday, our anniversary, and both. So like, I only now have to know when her birthday is. So, but
Hopefully Uhuru's not watching this. So.
She's gonna watch it. It's gonna be, and I know when her birthday is.
Yeah.
But we just had a great
we had a great
party for her 50th. Yeah, shout out to the Gin Joint in the Vault, because they did us
Beautiful
justice.
venue.
Yeah, and Cece and Maria, who planned it, and Luli.
Fantastic event.
Luli had the freaking extra. We had the mirrored. The ballerina and the cat that was mirrored dancing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you have to see it. Was
We should have done
Oh
like
my God,
a podcast right in the center of that thing before the event started. Shoot like a 30-minute video just with
Just
the
get,
whole
like, B-roll
thing.
of it, everything,
It was like a Casino Royale theme, and it was fantastic.
Yeah. And we might put together just a little short about that, where stick some stuff in the B-roll. But yeah, so it'll be 19 years that we've been married this year on my birthday. And it'll be that, like, we've been together almost 24 years. Yeah, so, and it's still fantastic.
So it was in the 90s.
That's beautiful.
Freaking, it might have been the 80s, you little young.
No,
I'm just.
I was born. I was at least born.
Barely, yeah.
At the time, it was.
He was like, I was breathing.
It's almost in the 90s, almost, or like right 1999 or 2000.
Yeah, we met. Yeah, around then. Yep. Man.
Hey.
Ooh, yeah.
So what a
time
time.
flies when you're having fun. I was like, what year is it now? Holy crap.
What are we doing?
Yeah,
Not that this post dog. Dog is like, oh no, remember that?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Time flies when you're having fun, though. That's what happens. Because it really just feels like it was, but we're still here, healthy, happy, alive. I'll take the W. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
But but again, I understand that, like, it's because I was traveling on average 200 and some odd days a year, so I wouldn't be gone that long, but I might be, in Texas for 3 days, and in Korea 5 days after that, and then home for 2 days, and then Germany, and then back, and then Moscow for 14 days, and then Brazil, so it was like, so we just plan. And then she's like, medical school is so much work. So we just were good about communications. That's fantastic. We're going to do a relationship episode at one point, and talk to some people, about relationships and good, bad, ugly. But, first off, it's about finding somebody who's your person, and not, trying to change somebody into something that they're not or you're not, and having similar core values as well as goals, because like people talk about goals and things, because marriage can be a lot like a business meets a romance, But if you meet somebody who has different core values than you, then that will always be an issue, point of contention. It's going to always cause issues down the road, even if it's something, unfortunately, as little as I knew this. One of my neighbors in DC area was Catholic, and she was a great girl. And we were really cool friends. And she met this guy who's a great guy, and he wasn't Catholic. And her parents were losing it, and it almost broke up their relationship. But anyway, just little stuff like that. So yeah, but we kind of have a good yin and yang thing going. We're not exactly the same. We complement each other. And that's really cool.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Now, since we have a bartender here, it's just fair that we talk about some cocktails. So tell us a little bit about.
He said cocktail.
I love my cocktails. It's just a thing. What is your favorite cocktail to make? What is the thing that you're like? You know what? You nail it every time. That people taste it from you. Like people ask you, you pick. Dealer's choice. What is the cocktail you go to?
Okay, so I will say first things preface when somebody says dealer's choice, I will still ask them some questions because somebody can say dealer's choice and I have a taste bud that you don't have, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So like
I've had a bad mocktail experience like that. It was
even when I do my mocktails.
Stop laughing at me lying.
Even when I do my mocktails, I'm like, what flavor preference are we looking for?
I wanted apple juice, and they gave me orange.
Not at all what I wanted.
Put a pin in that. We're gonna go back. We're gonna circle back to that.
Yeah, but so I do always ask and then there's also like the spirit base. What are we working off of, right? My go-tos, as we were talking about it earlier, old fashions, because they are such a simple cocktail, and in my opinion, some of the best cocktails are very simple, and they just are. You get the aroma, you get the spirit in it, and that is a lot of what an old fashioned is. People have messed up old fashions before.
Oh,
you know what I mean? So it's
yes.
I understand when somebody gets a good old fashioned and they appreciate it and they're like, I'm coming back again, and I'm coming back again, and
that's
I'm coming back again.
That's one of my wife's strengths in old fashioned. She's
yeah. And I am a gin girly, and I enjoy my bourbon as well.
I love
my gin, I am a last word all day. Anything with a chartreuse in it, either a green or a yellow chartreuse, love it. The monks only make so much of it, so sometimes you can't always find it at a bar. But no, the last word is definitely one of my favorite gin-based cocktails. And those are actually how I named 2 of my packages with my Bobo Bar. So I named it off of my favorite cocktails. I'm like, this is what's going to come in it. And, they're just different tier levels and everything like that. So, yeah.
So
those
wait.
would be the 2 that I would pick.
So tell us really quick, or so we don't miss out, on your mobile, the business that you have, the mobile bartending.
Sure.
So, so what is that?
So I
tell us about your business. Yeah.
Put it together. I guess a few months ago, I've been working on it slowly but surely. And, like I said, I've been in the industry for a very long time. So I just kind of got to the point where I wanted to find a way to branch out on my own. There are a lot of different hospitality companies in the area, especially being in the Tampa, St. Pete area, all around, but I think there is also a different, feel of working for either a big hospitality company or even just branching out on your own, and there's just so many opportunities to make different connections, because like I work at a great bar, and we get a lot of people that come through, we get a lot of good regulars that come through, we get a lot of like good cool people that come through and they spend their money with us, but it's one place, it's one bar. So I like the idea of being able to go to different venues, different events, different stuff like that, which I wouldn't have met you,
Right.
And that is one of my joys when it comes to bartending, is the networking aspect for me. So when I kind of like when I like first thought of it, because I was like, why didn't I think about this before? Why haven't I started this sooner? I've done it for so long, right? So but yeah, no, it's been a joy to put that together. It's called a craft bar collective. So it's a dry hire bar. So if you're throwing an event, whether it is your wedding, whether it's a backyard party, whether it is your corporate event and you need a bartender for it, you can hire me as a dry hire service. I will literally put together all the odds and ends of what it is, whether you want cocktails, whether you just want a beer and wine, single pour, whatever it is. We'll figure out the package that works best for your needs type of situation, lie it out. Like, all I need from you is to purchase the alcohol, and I will put together everything else for you type of situation. Mocktails are included in the packages. They are.
And that's a great thing nowadays, because I was just looking at a lot of businesses that are going to like this mobile format. Like I found out the other day that you could do a mobile hibachi at your home, and this is like a new fever that's happening, and you can throw a party nowadays in your backyard. You could throw a
I've
football
seen that,
party.
and
You
that
could
is
throw like
really
a little
cool, yeah.
a cool birthday party. Have a momo hibachi. Have your bartender there. You can have a nice DJ. You can throw
Have
a
it
party.
set up.
You can have it set up. That's
And a lot of
nightclub,
things,
but, like-
especially in how I've like put together my packages and done my research on other people, like a lot of times especially if you know you're throwing a big event, you know what I mean? Like how you just did your wife's birthday, right? So
Right.
you know you're throwing this big event. If you just go to a bar and spend the amount of money it would take to spend for all the drinks that you buy, like that, like a mobile bar doing an event at your house or whatever, like that cuts that cost in half because you're not purchasing the upsell of all the liquor that bars do, because that's how bars make their money, is the upsell from the liquor, whether they have food or not, so
Right. See, listen to this. You guys need to take
that's
advantage
just
of
the
this.
situation.
and-
but you
and
pay for those prices
reach
at
out,
the
yeah.
bar because you want that entertainment that's there. Now, if you can get that for basically half off and do it at your house or whatever
Right.
event you're doing it at,
Right. Well, shoot. I mean, how do you think I feel when they
dollars
charge
make
me?
sense. You know what I mean? Like
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Right.
It's just more fiscally responsible. Especially like I said again. As the mocktail guy here, when you charge me $20 for a mocktail because it's on the it doesn't have any alcohol in it, I'm like,
right. You're like, how do we get here?
right. But lying while you poking me about the apple juice. Okay, so one of the coolest things about Singapore, of all, besides the fact it's one of my favorite countries I've been to. Shout out to my crew in Singapore, Lena, my homegirl, who got me out to a salsa social so I could dance while I was in Singapore. But they have such a diversity of religions there, and there's a significant Islamic culture as well. So you can go to a 5-star or Michelin star restaurant, and they will have 20, 30 mocktails on the menu as well as the other drinks, which is really, really cool. Hence why my mocktail got messed up in Vegas, because I went to some bar. Oh, it was Mizumi. It was one of the really nice Japanese restaurants in Vegas. And they are known for their cocktails as well as mocktails. So they made a mocktail that was way too sophisticated for me. And it wasn't sweet. If you're going to make a mocktail, you were speaking my mocktail language, right? But it was
Balance is key.
peppery and hot. And it wasn't sweet and nice. And I didn't taste any apple juice at all, Lion. So it was pretty bad. And I was like, and it was like a $28 mocktail. And I'm
what
like,
is this? What
it's
am I
not
drinking?
good. But he was nice enough he could see my expression because bartenders are good profilers and psychologists. And I was like, he was like, what do you think? And I'm like, I didn't get my game face fully on. I'd be like, oh, this is okay. It was what? He was like, I'll take it back and make you something different. I was like, yeah, just give me the apple juice.
That brings me to
Shirley Temple.
That brings me to this question. As we're winding down here for this episode, I wanted to ask you because I had an experience recently where I was at a Christmas party for my daytime job, and
His nighttime job,
my nighttime job is different than my daytime. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
My nighttime job is only on the weekends.
they call him sexy caramel or something like
Hey,
that.
you gonna find me in the corner.
Whatever
of-
works.
Right.
So I asked for a specific drink of Tom Collins, and the bartender goes, "You want it with Coke?" And we always just know that Tom Collins don't
That's
have
not
Coke
it,
in it.
yeah.
So what's a tip you can give our viewers on how to spot a real bartender? There's gotta be some tell. There's gotta be a tell on those things.
So I always give caution when I say this because there are different types of bartenders, and I'm not a master at everything, you know what I mean? Because you could know all of your craft beers, you could know all of your wines, you could know every single, you could be whatever, you could have your niche.
Yeah.
And when it comes to bartending, right? For me, it just depends on what kind of bartender you're looking for. Are you looking for somebody to flip cups and tens around and do all the fire and stuff like that? Are you looking for somebody to just make you a real good, well-balanced cocktail? The knowledge has to be behind there when you're doing cocktails. If you're just asking for a Jack and Coke, that is if you can count a single count, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can pour the Coke in there. It's not rocket science, I'm not doing brain surgery over here, but knowledge of cocktails, for me, it's you have to learn it. And if you think Coke goes into Tom Collins, you're wrong. So it's that's just what it is. So it's it's just
Very wrong.
it's knowing your cocktails, knowing how they're made. different cocktails are stirred or they're shaken, just
Shaken, not
depending on.
stirred, baby.
Well, and it depends on the cocktail. It depends on what consistency you want. It depends on what you're looking for. Different things call for different situations. So I would say if you're trying to get a good cocktail, make sure your bartender has the knowledge behind it, at least a good basic knowledge behind it. One thing I do love about bartending is there is always something that you can learn. There's always going to be one cocktail that you haven't heard about, or something you can get creative with it and make up something that's just like never even whatever.
Right.
I guess it would be the knowledge, and it would be the confidence in how they portray, because
Now,
if you're just going up to a bartender, there's different ways. I feel like I know when I go to a bar and I sit down at a bar, I'm like, okay, depending on how the person greets me, depending on how, obviously I know if I'm going to a dive bar, if I'm going down to somewhere else, there might be a different response, whatever it is. But, you can tell, I think it's an energy thing for me. At least that's how I tell it. I can tell when somebody greets me, how they explain the menu or don't explain the menu, or if I do have any questions, how they answer them, I can kind of just how my cocktail is going to come out, type of situation. But you got to read it. You got to read the room. And your cocktails too. If you're ordering a Tom Collins, know what comes in a Tom Collins.
I drink a Johnny Vegas.
If you say I want a bourbon on the rocks, no ice, like that makes no sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So understand how you're ordering your cocktails as well, and make sure that's the correct terminology.
So what is dry? When they say something dry, what does that mean? Is that specific type of? We're just talking about wines, or is there something you could say about a specific drink where it can be wet versus dry? Because I'm like, how it's freaking liquid. How the hell is it dry?
Usually you'll have if dry, people are usually referring to a martini. So it's whether there is a dry.
I'm getting my James Bond on right now.
Right, whether there is a dry vermouth in there or not, type of situation. If they want it extra dry.
A dry vermouth, and that is not wet.
A dry vermouth is a fortified wine that goes into it.
Okay.
So that is what is naturally mixed in a martini. Some people don't want.
I didn't know that.
Some people don't want vermouth in there. So if somebody orders.
Bruno Mars, sorry about that.
That's okay. If somebody orders, without vermouth, that means they just want some usually shaken up vodka. It's usually how people order martinis these days. I enjoy mine with gin. I said I'm a gin girly, but that just means you want some shaken up vodka and a pretty glass, and I can do that for you too, But so it all just depends. Rocks is basically, you want ice in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I learned that, and I felt really cool when I figured that out.
If it's neat, that means nothing. Just pour it in the glass.
Right, and that was counterintuitive to me too, because I'm like, what does that mean? We don't shake the glass? So the level
do
of liquid
I slide it to you when I serve it? Yeah.
I want it neat. Okay, well then don't ripple the liquid. Okay.
Right.
So last thing I'll ask you about that. I'm gonna leave it alone after this.
Mm-hmm.
No, okay, two things. One. Sex on the beach. Is that a drink and a shot? Have you heard of them both? And is that different?
I know it as a drink.
Okay.
If somebody wants it as a shot, I can make a mini version of it, and then
but it would still. There's not a difference, right?
Right.
Besides, unless
yeah.
okay, and then so
I was scared where that was gonna go to.
Sex on the beach.
I was very scared where that was gonna go to.
I know you were. I could see. I could see the fear in your eyes. I was like, not gonna do it this time. But so shaken, not stirred. Why do we shake a martini instead of stirring it? What's that about?
So, like I said, it's just the consistency of when you're shaking a cocktail in ice. When you're shaking it in ice, it's going to depending on how you're shaking it too. It's going to melt the ice in there more. When you're stirring it, it's not the consistency of the ice isn't gonna melt as much. It's going to basically chill the drink, and it mixes it and chills it, and then you pour it in there. So. And this is a preference of me, right? So like if somebody orders a martini and they want it with vodka,
right?
My brain goes to shake it because that's what most people like, unless they ask for it specifically. If they order a gin martini, I naturally stir it unless they ask for it shaken.
Okay.
That's my personal preference as a bartender and how I would drink my drinks as well. So that's a lot of time in how I bartend. Like I go off of my preference unless you ask for something different or I ask you. And yeah, absolutely. So most people will just go up and be like, oh, whatever you want. And I'm like, are you sure? Because I would do a shot of tequila. So what would you want? You know what I mean? Like
speaking my language, I love my tequila. Right. I switched from whiskey to tequila a couple years ago.
I have a range. And it always depends on my mood too. Like I was even saying earlier, as a bartender, I don't drink a lot anymore. Like 33 now, so like my body doesn't recoup the way that it used to when I was
Ah,
like
come on.
21,
That's so
22,
cute.
right? So I whatever, but so like it really just depends on my mood. Like I'll drink a bourbon neat, or I love a good gin martini, you know, anything that is mixed. You can do so much. I'm a gin girly. You can do so much with those
With gin.
cocktails. So like even if you're just experimenting, yeah, so it just
And gin is a great drink. I mean, doing a cucumber refresher with gin, with some cucumber waters, it's fresh, especially here in Florida. It's so hot in the summer. So that's one of my go-tos nowadays is gin, lime juice, ginger syrup,
ooh yeah.
and a little bit of club soda, and that's really
I
good.
love a little good ginger beer topping.
Yeah, ginger
Which
beer.
is like a ginger beer soda, which is usually a non-alcoholic. So if you're ever looking for a little like extra something different soda in there,
Right.
yeah,
I love
beer.
everything ginger. Like
Yeah, me too.
I do too.
when I
Any
found
like
ginger
natural
syrup,
thing, yeah.
I was like, what? They
Or
make
like
ginger
at the bar I'm
syrup?
at now, we'll make like rosemary or sage simple, so it's
Okay.
very easy to make something like just a little bit different than like another bar would make it, or and so that's something too with all the different bars that I've worked at. With putting my mobile bar together, like I've learned how to just make so many different unique things. So like whoever my client is, like what would you like? What are your taste buds? Do you like rosemary? Do you like something else? Like what can I make for you? Because I
Right.
can make you a simple if that's what you need,
Right,
type
right,
of
right.
situation that's just going to make that cocktail a little something
Yeah.
different for your special event.
Yeah, I
So
love my
Right.
cocktails. Well, Ashley, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Shout out to Tiffany again. We had to have you again
Absolutely.
in the show.
Definitely.
We learned a lot about the world of bartending, cocktails. We had a great conversation in. It's been a
Mocktails.
minute since I've been in the
Mocktails.
chair, so it's definitely feels good to be
Good to have
home.
Lion
So,
back in the chair.
normally we have Miss Ashley. What is your handle for Instagram? I want people to find you. You want to hire her. You want to reach
Absolutely.
out. You have your event at home. You got a Super Bowl party coming up. You want to have a bartender. Hey, that's a great way to everybody. Yo, he's doing well for himself. So, what's your handle for Instagram?
So my bar Instagram is going to be A Craft Bar Collective. There's going to be a little period before collective. So
Okay.
A Craft Bar period collective.
Perfect.
Yep.
And
Nice.
Normally have Mr. E do this, but Doc, take us home.
Hey, thanks for joining us today at the Playbook. We had my man Lion back in the seat. Good to see you, brother.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? People were asking me, hey, is Lion coming back? What's he doing? Is it the artist formerly known as Lion? They didn't know. So we got him back, and we have Ashley here. Thank you for coming out and sharing this show with us. It's been fantastic. I learned some stuff. I have to keep my James Bond on. So like now that I know, when I hear people talking about shaken, not stirred, I really know, or neat, or dry. And I'm going, like Mr. Spock, that is illogical, Now I know all this stuff. So thank you so much for coming out. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time. Make sure you like and subscribe. Click the notify button, because I know a few people are subscribed and they say they don't get the notice when we have
Share
these-
this on your socials too. Share it with your friends.
Yeah, share
We're
with your
on the
friends.
road to 1,000 subscribers. Help us get there. Share it with your people on your Instagram, on your Facebook, everywhere, and help us out.
Absolutely.
All right, so thanks for coming, and we will see you next episode.
Peace.
Thank you, guys.
Peace.